Hello, welcome back to the Most Productive Podcast episode. I don't know how many. Today we're going to talk about something I hear all the time, and it's a common one of these, a little thing we call excuses. But we're not going to talk about all excuses because, of course, there's an infinite amount of excuses available to those who don't want to accomplish anything. We're going to talk about one specific one that it probably it's at least in the top five of most common excuses I hear, and I just heard it from a good friend, so I thought it was a good time to bring it up. And that is the excuse of I don't have time. Yes, I understand. We have filled our lives up to this. Most of us, many of us, have filled it up with things to do, events, and because of that, it may feel as though you don't have time. But I assure you, if you are thinking about this and that, wanting to improve yourself, wanting to get something, wanting to be better, you have the time. Now, what can you do? What can you do to get more time or to realize you have more time? Well, one, look at your schedule. Don't just look at your schedule. Look at what you've actually done. Don't look ahead. Let's look behind for a little bit. Let's look at this past week and look at what we've done during this past week. How much television did you watch? How much music did you sit back and listen to? How much leisure time did you have? Now, leisure time is important. We all need a break. We have a channel dedicated for people to take a mind break, but it should just be a break. It shouldn't be the normal course. So make sure that you're not taking an exorbitant amount of mind breaker time. You need to be striving for your goals if they're important to you. If they're not important to you, you need new goals. So there's one area that's probably the most obvious. And like I said, I hear it all the time. I don't have time, but they have time to watch TV, to go to the movies, to do a lot of entertainment. Like I said, it's okay. It's okay to do that, especially every once in a while to give your mind a break. You need to do it. It will help you. But just like wearing a cast, it might help you when you have a broken arm. You certainly don't need to wear it all the time. Eventually, it leads to atrophy. I don't know where I pulled that one out of, but anyways, look into your leisure time too. If you work, especially if you're working for somebody else, you probably have break time. Once again, you have break times. Now, how long a break you have depends on where you work. There are many places where there's a judicious amount of break time. So, do you work at one of these places? What do you do in this break time? Do you chit chat away? Just close your eyes and relax? Is that an area that affords you the ability to do something? You'd be surprised how much you can do. I always forget the exact pronunciation. So the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 20 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, or various forms of this. Well, there's a lot you can do in 20 minutes if you get a 20-minute break, if you have a 30-minute break, if you have an hour-long break. Do you go out to lunch? Do you go out to lunch every day and spend money and time having lunch at a restaurant? Once again, nothing wrong with this. Nothing wrong with any of these things by themselves, but taken too far, being done too often, will cut into your ability to create the life you want to create. So think about that. Think about your breaks. What about your drive to work? How long does it take you to get to work? There's a lot of things you can do on your drive to work, on your commute, besides just sitting there and listening to things, or whatever it is you're doing on your way to work. If you're driving, you can make plans. You can plan things out, your day, your week, your life. You have the time. Take notes. Get a recorder. Almost every phone comes with a recorder built in. Record what you need to say. Transcribe it. Talk to yourself about what you want to do, what you need to do, and perhaps even get some work done. Don't limit yourself to what you've done in the past. Yes, nothing's wrong with what you've done. It just may be stopping you from getting the things that you want in life. So we've talked about 3 things so far of ways you might be able to find some time. We got reduce the amount of wasted time lounging about, entertaining yourself, watching television. 2, your break times. Your break times at work. there's time there. Find a way. Break times at work. Something else. What was the third one? The third one was on your commute. On your commute, think about ways to be productive. Now, yes, should you be aware of what's going on? Of course, but you do have the ability to speak while you drive. You certainly have the ability to listen. So put on your recorder. A recorder does not generally use a lot of memory, so you can record probably the entirety of your commute to work and everything that happened inside of it, and then they have a transcribe button. You can transcribe it, and those are your notes. If you really want to be slick, take those notes, drop them into a chat AI bot, and ask it to summarize what you've done. Pull out the key points, or turn that into some kind of product that you can then put online, put on YouTube, put on an internet blog. But there's so much you can do. Look at the things that you do all the time. Find out ways to get extra productive. We had an entire podcast about waiting in lines. While you're waiting in line, you don't have to suffer most of the time because one, there's usually some other place with not a line that's not as long. But if you are waiting in line and you feel that you know you're going to, well, plan to be productive during that time. Plan on doing something. Like I said, there's always the ability to go over what you did for the day or what you're going to do for the day, self-evaluation, course correction. You have the ability to do that. But once you start finding a way to be productive in this formally unproductive time, you're going to see that it can creep over to other spots, creep over to when you're doing other things. Now, I'm sure you've seen these people that do that. I'm sure you've seen the people who all of a sudden they're in line, they pull out their computer and they're holding the computer in some weird function, or they're actually doing something productive. And that might seem strange, but those people are productive people. Now, should you always be doing this? Of course not. You have to be aware of your situations, your surroundings. Make sure that it'll be safe to do it. That's a part of living life too. Putting yourself in a safe situation. But that's just a tangent. I just wanted to mention it because I didn't want people to be so engrossed in their productivity. So it doesn't have to be, that's something that I guess people kind of don't understand about being productive is there's a lot of groundwork that occurs during your productivity. It all counts, of course. It all counts towards being productive. But, sometimes it only feels productive when you are finishing something or when you're completely concentrating on something. So don't think that that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, okay, you want to make movies, so you're going to make a movie while you're uh, driving in your car to work. Well, no, you're not going to break out a camera and well, you could do this actually. You could mount a camera in your car, your phone camera or some other portable camera, and take B-roll shots. That's something you could do if you needed to do it, and that would take very little effort on your part to do it and be productive. You'd be taking something that you'll be using later when you do have more time to concentrate. I said taking notes, thinking about what you need to do. Let's take it a step further. Just considering the movie, you can write a script. You could have you could use these new AI chatbots to help you write something along the way. I said that taking notes is probably the best and easiest thing to do for most people, especially at the stage where you're just trying to see what's possible as far as your productivity when you're just starting out. Once you know, hey, I can actually do this much. I have this level of concentration that I'm able to put forth. Because not all things should be done with full concentration. Some things should just be stream of consciousness, which doesn't require all of your attention. Now, you don't have to enclose yourself in a room, a silent room where nothing can bother you. Just find ways to be productive. What else can you do? If you have friends, why not include them in your productivity journey? When you have friends, you care about them, help them move along to the next level. Help them get to the spot where, hey, this is great. When we hang out, we don't have to goof around. We can actually be productive together. We can create wonderful lives together, start a company together. We start a business. We work with each other. When we spend time together, it doesn't have to be this frolicking about. You can actually do something productive with your friends. And who else would you rather be in business with than people you care about? What else can we think of? There's just so much. There's just so much you can do along the way. It's just a matter of figuring it out, looking for it instead of just saying to yourself and accepting the idea that you cannot be productive because you don't have time. Say to yourself, I'm going to be productive. I'm going to find the time. I'm going to make the time. I'm going to make better choices. Right? I'm going to make better choices. I'm going to do things that are going to help me. I said one of the oldest excuses that I personally have is I'm too tired because I didn't get enough sleep. Okay, you work on the things you need to work on so that you have the ability to do it. I don't have the time. You do have the time. Now, do you have the time to do everything? No, you do not. But you do have the ability to make better choices so you have the time to do the important things in your life, the things that are going to make you have a better life. There's just so many things. Even my walk into work sometimes, I have, a 5-minute walk. In those 5 minutes, I can think of so many ideas about what just not goal ideas, but real ideas to help my business. Those little walk. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm putting forth. I'm not listening to music and dilly dallying, goofing around. I'm taking that time and being productive with that time. It's almost like this idea of becoming a machine. Like if you let's go back to if you want to make movies, become a movie making machine. You learn all the aspects of making a movie, and then you use all that time in your life to make movies. There's so many different aspects of that, of making movies, that you can almost always find something to do if you want to do it, if that's what you truly want to do. So, it's kind of sad to hear these excuses, to hear them from extremely bright people. Not that you have to be bright to be successful. You certainly don't. But I hear from extremely bright people, many of them very hardworking. They put a lot of effort into making sure they do a good job at their jobs. But as we have talked about in previous podcasts, you need to make that extra effort to find out the thing that is missing. And most of the time, that is the thing that you really want, the underlying motivation, the underlying goal to everything about in your life, and why you feel something is missing. You need to figure out what that is. And you do that by making the time, by making the effort to do what's necessary. And as always, that is going to change. It's going to change all the time. At first, you might just be taking notes in your car as you drive it. You say, oh, this is, you know, maybe you find you love it, right? You love it. And so you go in the end of your commute, if you're walking into work, before you even leave the car, maybe you hit the stop record button, and then you transcribe it, you drop it into chat gpt or bing or whatever, and you ask it to do whatever you need it to do, and then you're off on your way to work. That feeling of productivity is going to be a wonderful feeling. But that doesn't mean what you're going to do every day. You're going to find, oh, I want to do this, let me try that. Don't get caught up in the success that you're going to have from this productivity. You need to challenge yourself, do more. What else can I do? What can I do better? What can I do better than I'm doing right now? And then you can say at some point, you can honestly say, I don't have the time for this. I don't have the time for that. But that will be because you're working on things that are more important. Right? I don't have the time for this. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time to start that business because I'm working on this business. I don't have the time to go to the concert because I have a business meeting that's going to help me achieve my dreams. And those are the kind of choices that you want to make, not whether you can do anything at all, whether you can do the important things. This is some interesting driving in front of me right now. But anywho, guess it is one thing. I don't know if it bothers me. It saddens me more than anything when I hear the excuse, I don't have the time to do this. I would really like to do this, but I just don't have the time. You do. So make it happen. Make it happen. What is what else is there to say? What excuse could you possibly have? What reasoning would make you feel that I don't have the time is appropriate? You're gonna pull out a new one after that. That's generally what happens. If I can convince you that you do have the time, the next the next thing is going to be I don't have the experience, or I don't have the money, or I don't know how to do it. But let's get over the first. Let's get over the first. I don't have the time. Maybe maybe looking at it like this. Maybe it all goes back to your goals. Knowing yourself, knowing what you truly want, making it so that it's so desirable that you can't make excuses, or making it tangible. It's if what would you do if it was real right in front of you, and all you had to do was reach out and grab it, and you were so close? What would you be willing to do? Making that goal so tangible, just you can't help yourself but do it. It's maybe that's ultimately what we need to address when we look at excuses, because you can do it. People do it. People do it all the time. Maybe the goal that you have, or you think you have, is just not a realistic goal, but you need to work on it. Maybe I've gone on about this podcast. Maybe I needed to address the core issue, not having a goal that's real enough that it's there, and it's within your grasp. It's like if you didn't know how to swim, and I put $100 million on the other side at the bottom of the other side of the pool, and said you had an hour to get it, would you figure out a way to get it? Would you figure out a way to do whatever you needed to do to get it? Even if you were late for work and you didn't have the time, even if you're on your way to an important event and you didn't have the time, I think you would. I think you'd do everything in your power to figure it out. And today, that's what I want you to do. Do everything in your power to figure it out. You don't ever need to make any excuse, especially the excuse, I don't have time. Thank you so much for listening. If I had more time, I'd give you a little bit more. I'll give you some more tomorrow. Thank you.